Tony, you're an African American from New York. Can you please drop the Hamas? Hamas. Brother, you're African American from New York.
First of all,
Stop with the man. Here, I'll let you talk to the Jew.
Yeah, Tony, what's up?
Shalom alaikum.
Yeah, so Tony, I got a simple question for you.
Okay.
Well,
I do want to.
Let's just discuss this first, and then you can discuss on the same topic that you've talked with Lubiano about like 3-4 times now. Okay, don't get hung up on
about Eleazar once. It was very.
Well, I mean, you've gone thoroughly refuted a plethora of different times, but it's just really important. I got a simple question about
I disagree.
the sacrificial system within the Old Testament. Okay.
Okay.
So you believe whenever the children of Egypt or the children of Israel were taken out of the land of Egypt, how long was it until God commanded them to take about sacrifices?
So there obviously is some discrepancy here in the Tanakh, where at one point God even announces that he did not command our ancestors to sacrifice in the Exodus of Egypt. But it depends on what you mean in terms of sacrifice, because of course we just came out of Pesach, and Pesach is the first sacrifice that we are brought to, of course, in the book of Exodus, is the Pesach lamb itself. So when you talk about sacrificial system, in what sense are we sacrificing?
We're talking about burnt offerings and sacrificial offerings. All right? Hashem has commanded. Let me finish.
Okay.
We're talking about a specific geographical location and a specific instruction that's given out by God. All right. Now, we're asking very simply, if you're saying that there's discrepancies, if you're already conceding that there's discrepancies within the Torah, then I'm going to ask you, what Torah was Amos and Jeremiah reading? Because it doesn't seem like they're reading the Torah that you have in today's day and age.
No. So, first of all, I think that your question needs clarification, because you're kind of just conflating ideas here. So I just want to provide clarity, at least for your audience. In terms of you speak about the sacrificial system, but of course, the sacrificial system is quite dynamic, and sacrifices were brought in terms of the Tanakh, as you know, well before the Exodus of Egypt. But in terms of the Jewish people, in terms of the Hebrews, in terms of the Israelites, as I stated before, as you already know, that the Pesach lamb is part of the sacrificial system. And in fact, we're told that in Ezekiel, when the third temple will be resurrected, when it will be rebuilt and restored, that of course, upon the restoration of the sacrificial system, we'll also have the Pesach sacrifice.
I'm not hung up on those details, Tony. Please, let's keep it.
You're asking a question. It's a complex question.
No. I'm asking something. I'm asking something that's very simple. No. I asked 2 questions, dude. What do you mean, shotgun? So if we're saying. Tony, just lock in. So this is very simplistic, right? Just because you're confused about the sacrificial system and you want to make this specific passage. Well, let me finish.
Just before Ann finishes, Tony, you're an African American from New York. Can you please drop the Hamas? Brother, you're African American from New York, bro.
First of all,
man. Come on, man. You're forced today.
No. Okay, I'm not from New York. Most of my family is from New York, New Jersey, and so my accent. I don't know what you're hearing. So, but Ann, please go on.
No problem. So. What I'm saying is it's a very simple argument. We're showing the internal inconsistencies between that of the recollection of events from Jeremiah to Amos and to what we have within the Torah in today's day and age. Now, if you're going to tell me that God did command the Israelites to carry out burnt offerings and sacrifices when they were taken out of the land of Egypt, when they were taken to the tabernacle, which is spoken about in Leviticus chapter 7, verse 38. It's also spoken about in Numbers, right? When they're in the wilderness, when they're in Mount Sinai, and God commands them, after the whole Exodean narrative, God commands them to carry out burnt offerings and sacrifices. Whenever they were taken out of the land of Egypt, the children of Israel, they were commanded regarding burnt offerings and sacrifices, correct?
Okay, I'm trying to understand your question.
No, I'm just saying, correct? Do you agree so far or no?
Well, like I said, that there's controversy there, so I'm trying to understand your question.
So whenever the children of Israel were taken, I got you. So whenever the children of Israel were taken out of the land of Egypt and they went to the tabernacle that was set up in Mount Sinai, that was set up in the wilderness, were they commanded by God to carry out burnt offerings and sacrifices? Just yes or no, according to the text.
According to the text, they were.
Okay, beautiful. So if you can give me share screen, Labiano.
I got you, my boy.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so Jeremiah chapter 21 through 23 says, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, and add your burnt offerings to your sacrifices and eat the flesh. For on the day that I brought your ancestors out of the land of Egypt, I did not speak to them or command them concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices." Interesting. So Jeremiah has a Torah where he's recollecting or these specific events, and he's telling us that whenever his ancestors were brought out of the land of Egypt, they basically God did not command them regarding burnt offerings or sacrifices. How long was it until God commanded them to carry out burnt offerings and sacrifices? Do you know?
So, okay, you have to understand what's happening here, and I know that you don't care for the rabbinic tradition, so I'm not going to appeal to the rabbinic tradition here. What's happening is that Jeremiah is speaking to us specifically at a time of the first temple period. He's not talking to us from the time of Egypt. And it's important to note historically that what's happening here at the division of Israel is that the northern Israelites are not being allowed into Judea, into Yerushalayim to bring sacrifices. And so what Jeremiah here is referencing is the same thing in Hosea. You find the same thing in Hosea, the text 14 verses 2, when he says that let the sacrifices of our lips that we find grace with God. So this is throughout the Tanakh. This is not saying in a literal sense that God did not ask us in the Torah to bring burnt offerings. This is specifically referring to the time of the division of the two temples. And you talk about biblical scholarship with your last guest. Biblical scholars overwhelmingly agree with this, both Jewish and secular.
We'll see. Okay, so biblical scholars agree that with what you just said, that this is recording an event that took place within the Tanakh and not recording any sort of event that took place within the Torah. First of all, it's completely false from the contextual reading of Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 21 through 23. It's literally narrating the events when Israel arrives at Mount Sinai after leaving Egypt, right? After they fell into idolatry, right? So Jeremiah is recollecting past events and how the children of Israel fell into sin time and time again. They fell into idolatry time and time again. They fell into transgression of their covenant time and time again. And he's recalling the ancestors. He's not recording something contemporary to his time. He's recording something of the past.
And can you, just to solidify this, can you go to Amos 5:25?
Yes, of course.
Well, hold on. Can we handle
because this is
it's the same thing. This is how it's connected, Tony. It's the same thing. Look what Amos says. Okay. So God is asking rhetorical questions here, and he's criticizing the Israelites. And he says in verse 25, "Did you bring me sacrifices and offerings the 40 years in the wilderness, O house of Israel?"
Interesting.
So
right?
why is God saying that the Israelites didn't bring him sacrifices and offerings during the 40 years of the wilderness?
Okay.
What event is that?
So again, I want to address this the same way that I addressed the text in Jeremiah, because these are the latter prophets, and they're specifically speaking from the time of the first temple period. Now, you might want to ignore this historically so you can make your rhetorical point.
But they're speaking on the ancestry. They're speaking on the ancestors. Don't say that they're speaking about some sort of contemporary event.
Hold on. Because you don't want to accept what's happening contextually from the history. Okay, in the division of the two temples here. And remember what happens with King Hezekiah. of course, there's idolatry happening and spreading throughout the Israelites. And so what he is referring to is a time in the Israelite past to make a connection to their own time, to their own people about idolatry. And of course, what comes to mind is the Exodus. So they are not saying, hold on. They are not saying the ancestors did not bring sacrifices, burnt offerings in the tabernacle in disagreement with the Torah.
That's what the text says, man. Okay. So just real quick, I wanted to touch up on that. I heard your response. So, and your response was a repeat of what you said prior, and you didn't really engage in any of the substance that we bring. And in Amos' statement or in Jeremiah's statement, you just repeated what you said earlier, even though it clearly talks about the ancestors out of the land of Egypt, and it talks about the 40-year period when the children of Israel were taken out of the land of Egypt and they were put into the wilderness as a trial from God. And God says, I did not command you regarding burnt offerings and sacrifices. The problem is that in Leviticus, we do see where God commanded what? For them to carry out a burnt offering and a sacrificial offering. Let's read. He led forward the bull of purification offering, and Aaron and his sons, their hands upon the head of the bull for the purification offering, and it's slaughtered. Moses took the blood with his finger and put some of each horns of the altar, purifying the altar. Then he poured out the blood at the base of the altar. Thus he consecrated it to make atonement for it. Moses took the fat that was around the entrails and the appendage of the liver and the kidneys with their fat and turned them into smoke on the altar. But the skin itself, its skin and its flesh and its dung, he burned with the fire outside the camp, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he brought forward the ram of the burnt offering. And remember, I don't know if I heard that correctly, but you said, yeah, the overwhelming majority of biblical scholarship, Jewish scholarship, even secular scholarship, agrees that this is that Jeremiah and Amos are recalling specific events that are contemporaneous to their times, and they're not retelling a story of the past and contradicting it, even though you conceded in the very beginning that there's discrepancies within the Torah whenever it accounts for or discrepancies within the Tanakh when it accounts for the Torah narrative. So I got the Jewish Study Bible right here.
I was literally about to say that.
Right here. And I got Amos chapter 5, verse 25. We just read Amos chapter 5, verse 25, correct? Right here, Amos chapter 5, verse 25. Did you bring to me sacrifices and offerings the 40 years in the wilderness, O house of Israel? This is like me speaking to, let's say, my wife, all right? And imagine I'm recalling the favors that I gave to my wife. Right? And imagine I paid for this house or I paid for the place that we live in for 40 years, right? And I say, oh, my wife, my dear wife. And imagine if there's some sort of problems between us and I'm trying to recall the favors, remind her of the favors that have been bestowed upon her, right? Based on my working, so on and so forth. So, for the 40 years, oh, my dear wife, right? Did you pay a single cent for rent or for the house or anything like this? Right? Obviously, this is just an analogy and doesn't correspond to what I actually would say or what I'd actually do. But even then, just a little analogy for you to understand. But right here, Jewish Study Bible, right, from secular authorities and from some religious Jews, you could say. And I can go over the author list if you'd like. But right here, one of the most exhaustive commentaries that we get in modern day scholarship on the Torah and the Tanakh, where they quote Amos chapter 5, verse 23, all the way to Amos.
You're too close to your mic, bro.
Yeah. My bad. Where they quote Amos chapter 5, verse 23, all the way to Amos chapter 6, verse 7, where they say that this contradicts the priestly tradition reflected in the Torah, which suggests that offerings were a crucial part of the wilderness experience. So, according to the Torah, in the wilderness experience,
just keep reading your own commentary here. It says the passage has strong satirical tone. Okay, so of course there was.
That's verse 26.
Do you know what that means?
Satirical and carry images.
Oh, it's saying the satirical walk into exile. The satirical tone is when God says, did you ever bring me sacrifices? That's a satirical tone. Because the answer in response is supposed to be, no, you never brought me sacrifices.
No, that's not. You're completely
That's the point of the satirical tone of the verse. So are you saying, okay, so what's God trying to say here? Did you bring me sacrifices?
Okay, so as I was appealing to earlier with the prophets, because what ends up happening in the first temple period is that because the northern Israelites are cut off from the temple sacrificial system, what the prophets tell them to do is to turn to this place and pray. This is also something that we see in the thematic redemption.
I don't know how that
David,
answers
right?
the question.
Is that it's about prayer, that the
All right.
sacrifices.
So did they bring
are
sacrifices?
secondary.
So did they offer sacrifices in the 40 years? Yes or no?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
Why does
This is Rashi's commentary.
So why does the verse say?
Hold
so why
on,
does the,
hold on.
Rashi's
Let me
Rashi's as
hold
good
on.
as Rabbi Shmuley to me.
Well,
Who cares about Rashi? Listen,
you know what?
Rashi probably selling dildos as well. And listen,
this is Rashi's commentary. This is Maimonides' commentary from the guy that
cares,
you didn't quote the commentary, dude.
Cares.
No.
Don't just shoot, but Tony, don't just shoot blanks, dude. Come on,
Bro,
don't just shoot blanks. If we have the sources up here, you can tell us and you can be honest. You can say, I can look into this. You can say, I can look into this.
Rashi and Maimonides.
Okay, Tony, we don't care what two prolific rabbis are trying to reconcile this contradiction with.
1,500 years after the event.
Of course they're not going to admit the contradiction. So look, of course they're not going to admit it. Just like they try to reconcile Ezekiel's contradiction, and they almost just reject the whole book.
Elijah will come. Don't worry, Elijah will come. He'll fix everything.
Elijah will come.
Elijah will come. Hey, don't need to worry about it, guys.
Tony, look, Tony, just look, bro. Does verse 25 say they didn't offer sacrifices in the 40 years?
Okay, it says that in a very plain textual reading, but here, even in your own source, is satirical. It's satirical.
What does
that mean?
If you don't want to respect that,
okay, what does it mean to be satirical? Wow, what do you mean by that?
the satire is almost condescension.
At AAA Car Care, we don't just tell you about your car's health, we actually show you. That transparency is a top priority, and you'll experience it at every one of our locations. Our digital vehicle.
But even that's for verse 12.
What's the satire? Just wait.
Of course, I'm trying to bring this forward. Of course, God asked for burnt offerings, but the problem here is the focus on the burnt offerings over everything else. And this is thematically true throughout all of the prophets of the Nevi'im.
So did they bring it or not?
I just said they did. Okay.
Okay. So why does God say they didn't?
Speak here. That I can't make my argument.
Okay. Wait. Okay. I got you. Watch this. I got you. Where Moses.
And by the way,
where Aaron's. Wait.
This is a cop out, not to get the
Were Aaron's sacrifices accepted?
Was his sacrifices? Yes, they were.
Were they good sacrifices?
What do you mean?
Were they pleasing sacrifices to God?
Yes.
So why does he say they never did in the 40 years?
So again, I've already explained this, and I feel like
you said it's because they didn't have any good.
He's saying this in a satirical tone,
right? Because God is saying you guys never offered any good.
Listen, if you don't, right? Liviano, if you don't want to give us. And
Tony,
talks about all the time.
I know that
and honest and charitable.
I know. The zest is taking over. Tony the Jew, I know it's so zesty right now. I know.
Now you're okay.
Why did you start laughing like a Jew as well? Yo, this guy completely Jewified himself. Like it's crazy.
No.
Talks like a Jew, laughs like a Jew, sounds like a Jew.
Hey,
they really did a good job on you.
Well,
what you doing on Yom Kippur?
Yo, he's laughing. He's laughing like Val, bro.
You're the most Arab Canadian I've ever seen. You're like a Drake Arab Canadian.
Yes, I'm Arab. That's because I'm Arab. Yes, you're not an actual Jew. You're an African American from upstate New York.
I'm an actual Jew.
No, you're not. You know they'll never actually accept you.
Well,
Tony, let's look this up.
At the end of the day, Tony, you're still a goy. Okay, whether you like it or not, you're just like me. We're goys. We're both goyim. All right, that's the truth.
Well,
no disrespect.
And in this community, And even our rabbis have so much respect, particularly for Arab Muslims.
Oh my gosh.
The Arab Muslims are the only, going.
So why are they killing their babies then? They respect them.
Listen, I saw.
Why are they
your
killing
show.
babies?
I saw your show, and it disheartens me. Okay.
No, it's because they're killing babies in Israel.
I saw what my Jewish brothers were saying, and it disheartens me. Okay. I completely disagree with the Netanyahu administration. I think he's a war criminal. It disheartens me. Okay.
Okay. I actually respect that, Tony. Thank you. So you do agree that he is a war criminal that deserves
without question.
Awesome.
And
One sec. I just want to know if this is real. Hello, God Logic Apologetics. Is that you? All right. So yeah, continue.
No chance.
Can we, I know this is a hard time for all of us, but I really came on here to talk about Eleazar in your video. I really don't think you did me justice.
Let's just get over with Amos first, man.
Last question, Tony. The source right in front of you, the scholarly source right in front of you that you tried appealing to. You said that all the biblical commentators, they agree with me, even atheist, secular, Jewish, whatever it may be. We didn't see any commentators on your side, but right here they say that this clearly contradicts the priestly tradition reflected in the Torah, which suggests that offerings were a crucial part of the wilderness experience. You would agree that for verse 25, remember this is verse 25, verse 26 is, right? And you shall carry off your king, Sekuth and Kayun, the images you have made for yourselves of your astral deity, yada, yada, yada. Verse 25 is the one that we're critiquing. This contradicts, and verse 25, the commentary ends right here. This contradicts the priestly tradition reflected in the Torah, which suggests that the offerings were a crucial part of the wilderness experience. So the commentary that we have and the cumulative evidence that we got from Jeremiah and Amos seems to conflict and contradict.
And again, you're just
seems on the apparent to contradict and conflict with what we see within Leviticus, correct?
You're mishandling your own sources. Absolutely incredible. Right there in 26, what does it say?
What verse is 20? Wait, can you read verse 26 first and then give me the commentary?
Well, zoom back in because you can't read. No, zoom
right
back
here.
in. You just zoomed out.
So am I mishandling my own source, or did I just read this for you? Did I just read this for you? So Tony, I just read this for you, man. Go on.
Can you zoom back, look at the commentary part, the highlighted
This is the
part,
verse.
sorry.
You said, can you zoom in the verse?
The commentary particularly.
Read the verse first and then read. But read the verse first and then read the commentary, please.
You read the verse. We had that. Thank you. We can see that there. I'm talking about the commentary. Can we just go
for the
back
people
to
in the back? For the people in the back, because I don't think you're digesting what verse 26 is saying.
Okay, and then it says
the passage has their strong satiric tone. Their king Shekut is a Mesopotamian astral deity. It's not really speaking on verse 25.
Yes. Okay, yes, it is. It is talking about verse 25, and then going on specifically to speak upon the kings. And the satirical tone is not just specifically of verse 26. That would be ridiculous. It is of the contextual verses that are grouped together. And here,
sure, connect it.
Okay, so you don't deny that. So,
I said, sure, you could try and argue for that interpretation of connecting it, but here.
Come on, let me breathe here.
Go ahead. Well, you asked me. Yeah. You said you could. So you agree, and then I was elaborating on how I could see that, but that doesn't necessarily follow.
So you're mishandling the text, and you're mishandling your own commentary on the text. Okay?
So see the lack of substance within you just shooting out blanks like that, saying you're mishandling this, you're mishandling that. You're not really addressing.
You're not allowing me to talk. So it's really hard to get to my point.
You've repeated yourself 3 times, and it's going to be the 4th. Go on.
Okay. Because of the way that the text is grouped together in this commentary, the tonality of the text altogether is satirical. So God is rhetorically asking in a satirical fashion about the sacrifices. Of course, that is to say, of course, God asked you this. But the primary mode, what God wants, and again, this is thematic.
Doesn't talk about what God asked or not.
Yeah.
It talks about
what God commanded. What God commanded.
It doesn't talk about what God commanded. Where does it say that? It says, "Did you bring me sacrifice and offerings in the 40 years in the wilderness?"
Okay, well, in the text in Jeremiah, it specifically said.
We're talking about Amos.
Okay,
Amos.
but you link those two texts
I know,
together.
but I know we're just supporting our interpretation, brother. We're saying, look, Amos, God says they never brought the sacrifices. They never brought sacrifices.
Can you're reading from the standard version. Can you actually
open up Safari?
Now you changed. See, right there in Jeremiah it says,
open up. Just wait. Just open up Safari. I'll go to Amos 5:25. It'll say the same exact thing.
Well, I'm just saying, give me the verse before it, and now we're on Matthew 23.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to Safari.
He's going there, bro. Just wait.
No, I'm not going there. I just wanted in context for your viewers.
Yeah,
you just told us not to go use
Amos 5:25. Amos 5:25.
And by the way, I don't do Safari. I do Chabad. It's okay.
So Safari is too liberal for you. All right, here. Did you offer sacrifice and oblation to me those 40 years?
I'm saying the verse right before it, please.
All right, verse right before it.
Okay.
But let justice well up like water, righteousness like an unfailing stream.
Damn. Yeah, that reconciles the contradiction. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
So it says, did you offer me sacrifice? Meaning you never did. You never offered me any sacrifices, O house of Israel, in the 40 years. How is that so when we have the priestly tradition say that they did? That's all they did.
So I don't understand what you don't understand about satire. You're just not handling the
Lord, what does it mean when God said, did you offer me sacrifice in the 40 years?
Okay.
Is the point?
You won't allow me to respond to that.
Just wait. No, I just want a clear. Just wait. I just want a clear answer. Is that a yes, you guys did, or a no, you didn't?
Okay. So if you're reading, it's not just about a plain textual.
Is that a yes, you did, or no, you didn't?
It's not just about plain textual reading. I have told you what Ross said.
Is that a no, you didn't, or a yes, you did, Tony?
Okay. It's being asked satirically.
Okay, so is that a yes, you did offer, or no, you did not offer?
Okay. Oh my gosh, we did offer sacrifices.
Okay, so God is saying he's asking this rhetorical question, expecting yes we did. Because
what's happening here again, deferring back to.
Why do you talk like such a Jew? Because, like, come on, man. You're not from Poland, man. And
you're just not respecting the tradition here.
No. Of course I don't respect the tradition. Why would I respect the tradition?
What is it to respect? If there's conflicting views, if there's internal inconsistencies, if it seems like there's interpolated verses to magnify and signify and elevate the whole status of the high priestlyhood, right? And so the Jews could make their livelihood, get a couple schmeckles in their pockets, and the person will go up to them and sacrifice.
Most of Judaism is practiced in the absence of the temple.
But we're saying this is crucial.
I know that, but that's only after the second. Right, the Judaism you're following now is a post-Second Temple Judaism. The Judaism in the time of Amos and Jeremiah is all about the temple, all about sacrifices.
When there is a temple.
Right,
because
exactly.
Even
the Bible bears witness. Samuel says, screw your sacrifices. You guys are using it.
Samuel doesn't say screw our sacrifices.
Yes, it does. It says
no.
It does say screw your sacrifices.
He says what Hosea says. This is the problem.
Not Hosea. I'm talking about Samuel. Samuel says screw your sacrifices. Basically, that's it. Jeremiah says the same thing. Why? Because the Jews had a sacrifice temple cult that the prophets had to preach against. Okay, now where the heck is this temple cult according to Amos during the 40 years? It's not there. They didn't offer any sacrifices during the 40 years. And as a matter of fact, there's a different issue. There is a distinct tradition that comes from the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And
now you're recognizing the historical division.
Just let me finish.
What's happening between the northern and southern kingdom? You're not going to do that in
context. Let me finish, bro. In the northern kingdom, the prophets speak as if the honeymoon or the first stage of the nation of Israel was a good one. They were obedient. But Southern prophets say that the honeymoon phase, or the first stage of Israel during the 40 years, was terrible. They didn't listen, they didn't obey. So not only do you have a contradictory distinction with the sacrifices, you have a contradictory tradition when it comes to were the Israelites obedient in their first stage or were they not?
Exactly.
Well, of course, that whole period of the Exodus was very dynamic, even boiling down to Moses himself, which I know you disagree with. So I would like to know exactly which text you're appealing to as text proofs for that issue. I don't want to speak about that in the general, if you're trying to particularly make a claim that the prophets are contradicting each other. I think what the prophets recognize is there are times when Israel is obedient and there are times when it's not. And that was true of Moses, and that was true of the prophets.
There was a time when Moses wasn't obedient?
When God had asked him of the rock to speak to it, and I know you disagree.
You're over,
with the biblical
Tony.
record.
You're over Jewing now. It's too much Jewing right now.
So you disagree with the biblical record.
This is over. No, this is over Jewing. I can't deal with it. It's like you guys paint the prophets in such an ugly way. It's crazy.
Well, we don't paint the prophets anyway.
Yes,
We have what's in the Torah, and I know you disagree with what's in the Torah. And you guys want to play hot scotch with what you do agree with and what you don't. But this is the biblical record. And we as Jews have to accept the biblical record as it was revealed to us.
Do you accept that Jews killed the prophets?
I accept that the Jews have had a terrible time
So they killed the prophets,
the revelation
right?
of God. It is true.
They killed prophets?
It is true. That's even recorded in our own Torah.
Did they worship a cow?
That, like I say, they're not they as in everyone, but there are Jews who have fallen away.
No, but
absolutely.
God speaks in general collective terms in the Torah.
The Jewish people, the Hebrews.
The Hebrews didn't want to fight with Moses.
Okay.
The Hebrews were nagging to Moses.
Okay.
He wanted to kill himself because they were nagging too much, right?
So I want to talk about Eleazar. And
Just wait. Okay, last one. Okay. Did Moses want to kill himself because the Jews were too naggy?
Where is that stated in the Torah?
Oh my God, it's literally Numbers 11. It's literally Numbers 11, bro.
Okay, so
let's pull it up.
Yeah, actually I would like to look.
Was it Numbers 11 or 14?
I got you. I'll pull it up.
I think it was number 11 from what I remember.
Numbers chapter 11.
Numbers 11, verse 11, here. Moses heard the people of every family wailing at the entrance to their tents. The Lord became exceedingly angry, and Moses was troubled. He asked the Lord, "Why have you brought this trouble on your servant? What have I done to displease you that you put the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I give them birth? Why do you tell me to carry them in my arms?
Come on,
as a nurse carries an infant to the land you promised and owed to their ancestors? Where can I get meat for all these people? They keep wailing to me. Give us meat to eat. I cannot carry all these people by myself. The burden is too heavy for me. If this is how you're going to treat me, Lord, please go ahead and kill me. I have found favor in your eyes."
And you're right to laugh, and you're right to laugh. Obviously, you know the text is being hyperbolistic here. You know that.
What?
No. You know that. I mean,
bro, come on,
totally
man.
mishandling these texts.
How am I'm just reading, bro?
Shots. You know that Moses, first of all, hold on, about the character
Come on.
of Moses.
You can't even admit that your people are too annoying.
Let me respond to this, because this is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't want you to mislead your audience. I have so much respect for the Muslim community. I don't want you to mislead them.
Oh, man.
So as we're told that Moses is the most humble, one of the most, Dean's words is the most meek character in all of the world. And we know that Moses, when he's even given the task of bringing the Hebrews out of Egypt, he says, "God, I can't speak, I can't do this."
And they were annoying, right?
Here,
Were they too
were
annoying?
nagging. From the very beginning,
Right, so the
even in
Jews who
rabbinic
had-
tradition,
okay, I got it.
emphasized. Well, hold on.
I got you.
Hold on.
So the people who literally ate food from heaven and had magical water at a magical well appear to them, follow them everywhere they go. They're in
the well of
wilderness,
Miriam,
right? So the people who had magical food, who had the
Manna
ocean
from
open up for
heaven.
them, just wait, who had the ocean open up for them, they were nagging too much, and Moses wanted to kill himself, right?
It was impossible. I mean, listen, we just went through a Passover Seder, and Liviana, I would invite you to the next Passover Seder.
Okay, but okay, I just want to know, were they nagging too much that Moses wanted to die?
Not it's the same sense. Like today, someone might say, "Oh, I hate my life."
Yo, no
Well,
wonder, man.
Moses never wanted to be in the position of being a prophet of the Hebrew people.
What?
And so
They were crying too much, like Moses.
Jeremiah was
Moses, we
bleeding.
need meat. We need meat. They were wailing at their tents, and Moses couldn't handle it. He couldn't stand it. He's like, Lord, did I give birth to all these people? Why are they nagging at me?
And when he
Just
says
take
birth
me
to all
already.
these people, he is talking about the birth of a nation. He is because when the Hebrews come out of Egypt, this is the beginning of their own sovereignty, of their own